Well, joining me live from London is Gabriella Waaijman. Gabriella, good morning to you. You are the Save the Children's Humanitarian Director and, of course, Save the Children work worldwide, and you're constantly in discussion with your team in Gaza, where Save the Children have been reporting more than 1 million children trapped in the middle of an active conflict zone with no safe place to go and no route to safety. What more can you tell us?
Well, the last contact we've had with our team last night, our colleagues were saying we're struggling to get in touch with our friends, with our family, with each other, and that's the last we heard of them. Our colleague said, "We might not survive this. Please pray for us." That was really hard. The numbers that are being cited, the number of people killed in Gaza, the number of people injured in Gaza, which is 17,000 people, or more than 17,000 people injured, those numbers will no longer be relevant considering the intensification of the bombings that your colleague was reporting on last night.
And again, no mobile reception, as we're hearing from Deborah Haynes just there, and much of an impact on the Gazan residents, children also at heightened risk of that loss of life, also physical harm, severe emotional stress, and as Save the Children have reported, protracted displacement following the announced expanded ground operations.
Absolutely. We track what is called grave violations against children, and there are 6 grave violations against children. Killing and maiming is one of them. Clearly, this has happened in this war. Attacking schools and hospitals is a second one that has happened in this war. Abduction of children is a third one that has happened in this war, and denial of humanitarian assistance that is happening in this war. Many children have lost their lives in Gaza, in Israel, but at the moment we are seeing an entire population at risk, including 1 million children, because half the population in Gaza are children.
And we are hearing the devastation there, and a lot of the trucks that were meant to be going into Gaza have not been going in, and we're hearing all sorts of stories of perhaps reasons why, perhaps Hamas is taking them over. Regardless of why, the reason at the moment, or the situation I should say at the moment, is the lack of supply and medical equipment, food and the like. What is Save the Children doing specifically in that situation?
No, absolutely. And as I mentioned, denial of humanitarian assistance is a grave violation against children's rights. So let me be very clear about that. What we have been able to do is at the beginning of this war to find some suppliers still in Gaza itself that were sitting on, this was a city, right? So there were stocks available. So our incredible supply team managed to find some of those stocks. We bought them up, helped distribute them to the most vulnerable in Gaza. So this is water, food supplies, but it is tiny. So what we were able to do was basically supporting about 3,000 people. Out of millions of people in need, that's obviously a drop in the ocean. We have trucks at the border in Egypt waiting to go in. As you well know, the trucks are dripping in, are mostly stopped. So we are as prepared as we can be to scale up and to support as many people in need. But at the moment, we simply do not have access to the people in need. And so what we need is unhindered humanitarian access. We need a humanitarian corridor. But most of all, what we really need is the fighting to stop. We need a ceasefire.
And we're also hearing people suffering in Israel, a total of around 1,400 fatalities. And again, some of those children, we just spoke to a resident in Tel Aviv who has a number of children, and they seeing psychologists who have been brought into the school. They're learning about not to hate. They are being told that perhaps it's they're just wanting land and not going too much into what is happening. But again, just looking at the immediacy of what is needed, supplies, and to keep people alive. But there's that ongoing need for, psychological treatment and mental health, and this is going to potentially go on for their life.
No, absolutely. At the moment, of course, we're really, really worried about the survival of children, but the ongoing psychosocial trauma that children are facing, Palestinian children and Israeli children, and also children outside of the immediate vicinity of Israel and Gaza. There are people in all over the world that are currently facing discrimination based on their background, and that is not okay. A child is a child wherever in the world they live, and they have rights wherever in the world they live. And the psychosocial trauma that these children are facing is going to be a lifetime scar.
And can you tell us, please, what the latest is on the Ceasefire Now petition that has been signed by around 60 countries and hundreds of organisations?
Yeah, we're very proud that more than 600 organizations globally have signed up on this. And this is really, really globally. Organizations from all over the world have signed up on this petition. We also now have gone above 500,000, so 500,000 people have signed up, of which 10% in the last few hours. So that just shows you that this intensification of the bombardment that we've seen since last night is spurring people into action. People want to see peace.
Save the Children Humanitarian Director Gabriella Waaijman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And if you would like to donate to Save the Children's Gaza Emergency Appeal, you can go to their website at savethechildren.org.au.